Да. Ну что ж, сейчас мы это уже узнаем. Vega Squadron против Evo стадия платов, пиков уже начинается. Ну и, конечно, мы вместе со основными аналитиками будем для вас пояснять. Вот так же. Герои. Первая стратегия начинает рушить язык. Да, минус бредовый картлейнер. Сразу знаю. Хорошо. Еще один. 15 есть.
Хотят забрать, потому что вчера в локации
I can hear him. You mean the stream? Yeah, I'm not hearing anything. You're up, like that's what it is. There you go. Thank you. Yeah, there's so much slack. Got it.
Все есть. Просто исключать то, что будет мало приятных. Вот минус баунти там. Сейчас главное залетать. Вполне возможно.
Я не говорю, что какого-то мастера решили просто компонент. Какой контроль, ну, я не буду два пика. Против стиля Vega, центроцакса, который довольно опасно раскрывать, чтобы тимы не заходили. И хабаря сейчас мастера забанили, оставили думать. Твои стиль, поэтому всегда это будет начало, но тут уже вопрос брать ли каких-то лесников, потому что
лишь по-прежнему в поле остался.
Да, и с ним это довольно сильно может быть сложно, и нечасто как-то помешает тебе, я уже не помню, чего я распикивались без мастера. Солнечно.
Такая же ничего. Ну вот корейцы только видели Дума, они не брезгнули брать Вискалбэк, но вот в исполнении Vega мы такого не видели. Вообще не помню, когда последний раз Вискалбэк появлялся.
Есть другая сигнатурка, это Тини. Или даже просто Тини без листа.
Но суть в том, что ты просто идешь в сложную линию, у тебя есть толстый Вискалбэк, который со старта уже создает агрессию и просто выбивает весь реген, который может быть у Ферри и суппорта.
Поддержки это факт. Это только с Бристолбеком, а так на самом деле Вискс довольно плохой против Дума, обычно берут наоборот Дума против Виспа, потому что с Виспом ты не делаешь агрессивных линий никаких, стоишь пассивный, соответственно, игрок 4-й позиции может спокойно пройти в лес, тебе никто не помешает, если никто не зайдет.
Все зависит от исполнения. Ты можешь заставить этого Дума выбирать между несколькими целями, например.
Я про стадию лайна тебе говорю, вот это дальше уже понятно.
Найкс, тот самый залетает туда, а
скорее всего, забанят какого-то слотара, чем и Свена, потому что все вот...
Ну, конечно, не было кому контроля.
Все вот это, чем надо убивать, потому что Vega, когда шла на матч, понимала, чем будет играть, и должно быть что-то всегда по плану.
Добрать контроля и ДПСера. В принципе, сейчас энчантов есть Гангер, Ровер, после левела поднятого флага. Бой неплохо вписывается.
Для Vega?
Для Vega.
Да, отлично вписывается, контроль вот этих миличных, сложно прогнать его спину, мне кажется, выживать.
Если альтернативы, может, видеть войну?
Мне нравится для Vega какой-то быстрый пик, то есть через миллион, может быть, через дроп, но мы все этого никак не можем дождаться. Может быть, сегодня рассказать.
Может, есть бэкграунд еще у нас?
Да, вы знаете, кстати, план один из тех, которых я ждал. Все-таки FR поедет. Сейчас в нынешнем веке тоже один из сигнатурных героев. Удивлен, что пока нет Дарксира, там не здесь. Может, Vega Squadron, кстати, сейчас его забанить.
С одной стороны, нету четкой синергии, раз уж так, и хотелось бы иметь... Но все равно Doom есть Doom, а Дарксир есть Дарксир. Doom с Дарксиром это жесткая синергия на самом деле. Под шилдами, под скорчтерс, Doom бежит на любого суппорта и считает, если он сжигает просто флага и диспозиции не может в течение 10 секунд добежать до вышки, все, он мертв.
Спасибо, что
поправишь. Ты получаешь дополнительный опыт следствия, тебе не могут зайти, чтобы выиграть, а Doom просто по полному будет забирать с больших хитов.
Причем оба героя довольно-таки плотные, как Дарксир, так и Doom. Будет тяжело их.
Они очень
неплохие, как по мне, на стадии лейни. Что одного, довольно-таки бывает сложно убить, что не ошибается. Что второй.
Тут вместе.
Да, тут все вместе.
Задумка с легендой плана.
Кого нужно убить? Может быть, это Джиггернаут выберут?
Ну, я думаю, Вега, Джиггернаут, Поптер с вами, я думаю, ну, вот это все должно быть знакомо.
Свена мы довольно-таки редко видели. По-моему, даже лучше Свена,
еще что осталось. Гирокоптер, Джиггернаут. На Джиггернаута тоже дом, если этого не бросить. Есть лимит, зачеркивается игра. Лимит аналогично. Кто успел, тот...
Вот-вот.
Опять же,
Тут хочется просто дум.
нужно подумать.
Можно вспомнить вчерашний драфт в Лиге было так же, команда понятно, что она
Свена все-таки забанили.
Есть медведь, который наносит огромное количество дэмэджа, как промежуток времени. Вот как раз тот герой, который по мне неплохо справляется.
вчера играли поиграли.
Да, вот Свардар, безумный Свардар, просто я не сказал, получил слотов 4,5 тысячи.
Я думаю, может быть сложно у всех делать стандарт, математика, свайдам и так далее. Ну, ждет такого стандарта, лишних герой.
То есть есть подхил, дома неплохой.
Стандарт сложно может пойти от Лиги, и любой добрый системный посильнее может на кэрри пойти. Ну,
Я немножко герой, который будет выглядеть конфликт как Некса. Потому что вчера Лига показали,
что же, как убежден, доктора, все захватит, потому что есть рассказ Купова, Империи, Спа, Доктор, ты можешь добавить такого же лужового кора, ну, все, в принципе, получается красиво.
Имеет ли смысл говорить про другой рейнджер? Просто пик, медицина будет жить.
это какой суппорт.
Да, если взять другой рейнджер, некий риск,
Я думал, что начнут с Вайда.
пик нужно будет очень технично грамотно исполнять, иначе одна ошибка достаточно, что ты даешь.
Ну, игра, комментарии, для тебя стратегия.
Я так понимаю, это все-таки лед для PPD? Если это лед для PPD, то значит это будет сапог. То есть это даже дагер может быть в игре. Сапог линза.
Вот убедишь, что
Дело в том, что
Ты говоришь про сапог, который будет с first item взять на старте, или просто то про то, что люди не появится.
да. А то, что он покупает сапог, на него не вообще, как в каждой игре. Будет ли? Или не сапог? Ну, они не забудут за что угодно, можно не часто использовать потому что это звак, нужно подсёть какую-то фиксацию, чтобы твои игроки не понимали. Иначе не набирался, да не съедал, не зарыш каждый бой.
да.
Это наш сильный друг.
Осталось добрать еще героя, чтобы Дум был перед выбором, на кого его кидать. Нужен дополнительный ДПС или Squadron. Над этим стоит сейчас подумать.
И потому что Империя немножечко слезала в Империи. И сейчас еще летит много. Они легкую продавят, потом получится свой продавят.
И звонить можно Найтса, Май, получить дополнительный контроль,
Но это более рискованно.
если честно, вот на файты не контактные, не 5-5, где-то в поле, там 2 на 2, 3 на 3, единственное адекватное дизайн, по-моему, что-то раскрылся, который можно первым бросить.
Я забыл про фактор дроби, а PPD, это летает груда, и не полная беда, потому что нет линии, как поставить, чтобы груда пришла и не облегала. Будет где-то становится.
Самый адекватный вариант — это не паниковать, взять сейчас склеить с возможностью ломать быстро товара, с магическим дэмэджем и просто фиксировать внимание энчанта на пушу жуты. Достаточно просто достаточно 3 на 2 крипа и пуш до 2 минуты 30 секунд. Буквально появится командора. А пойти с триплой с войдой
Забанил свой, забанил Трендовский, забанил Бисмарский, и понятно, что очень мало прав на самом деле.
У нас есть команда, у нас есть Джиггернаут.
Слушай, сломать все ловушки и пойти в другой участок карты. И только решили, что уже достаточно не подходит, гарантироваться, отпушивать.
Нормально. Война это поддерживать, потому что его власть довольно сильная, и поэтому вряд ли при этом было уже хорошо. Вот, можно да, пойти обсудить эту футбол, постараться не дать ему, потому что она не была напряжной, и давить ту самую длину.
Ну, большая проблема это люди, которые на очень длительное время будут заигрывать, невозмутимо это.
Возможно, слайд какой-то появится, он синергирует свой дом, но...
Тайм-файле, знаете.
Но сейчас он валит следующий спикер.
Хорошо, хорошо.
Знамение.
Да, играет
делает самоела, против пака. На самом деле, считается, что
Давай подумаем насчет... Ну, в принципе, уже все понятно, просто на свой пик. Ничего интересного. Вот для Вега, как
источник второй движок.
для Вега,
Керри, я думаю, мы все-таки сделаем война.
Смотри, если они берут перевойна, можно пойти в
нет, им надо оставаться на легкой своей, чтобы выиграть игру, потому что со своими героями, если они этого оставят, она просто поломает там героев, потому что и надо пустить.
очень прям все неприятно абсолютно. Нужно думать над домом, нужно думать, как отключить Найтса, который поддерживается. И нужно учитывать фактор, опять же, труды, которые постоянно себя гонят, захватывают твой лес, убивают экономику. И убийство кто-то против.
В принципе, гирокоптер не так плохо смотрится. Он показывает движком и тимфайтер, это куполы.
Но принимать гирокоптер, как-то
И бомбы, такого они нельзя сейчас.
Поэтому если идет, то и...
Есть роль, который что-то сделает, показывает. Есть роль, который задать на старте, потом принять.
гирокоптер, который может сразу просто бегать. Что ж, остается 15, давайте уже посмотрим, что будет наш герой, да, будет Вега. Грех задуматься, столько грязи в ответ, я уже даже не знаю, не видел таких грязных селедочек. Ну что ж, проскакивало у нас. В смысле, как персонаж сыграет, для памяти тоже. Спасибо, ребят, спасибо, товарищи аналитики. Прежде чем передать слово комментатора, как же не сказать спасибо нашим зрителям, пожелать вам удачного просмотра. Я же, кстати, для тех, кто в зале находится сейчас на стенде HyperX, можете подойти, мы вместе посмотрим доту, пообщаемся. Ну а сейчас слово нашим комментаторам. Я господин против Юры, пост и Марки, который работает для вас на хорошем, отличном матче. Это супер важная игра. Естественно, эти команды уже в топ-3, но кто запоминает, все запоминают чемпионы. А поэтому нужно попадать в гранд-финал. Я думаю, что Вега, очень туда хотят. Конечно же, тем более, что Вега уже обыгрывали ЕГЭ в первый день. Если мы вспомним, как они играли там с Олдом или Кемаром, матч, и американская команда, если не изменяет память, там на 25 минут просто сдались, когда уже стояли еще все по вышке, они просто осознали, что они ничего не смогут сделать. У них была энигма, против которой был Пак, ну, против Пака, в принципе, можно бороться, когда у тебя есть,
Greetings and salutations, Dota fans. I'm AC, that's Gods, and it's our pleasure to welcome you to the floor of the International Exhibition Center here in Kiev as we look ahead now to the lower bracket finals of the WePlay Season 3 LAN. And I'll tell you what, man, I'm really looking forward to this. You know, we've gotten a chance throughout this tournament to see EG, who actually started once we got into bracket play in the lower bracket, have to fight their way all the way through. We've seen their play evolve. They're obviously trying to get a grasp on their new lineup and how things feel. And now they're in a position where they could find themselves in yet another grand final. But their test going to be a regional favorite in Vega Squadron. What are your thoughts so far looking at the draft?
Looking at the draft, EG, the Brood is the big hero that always sticks out. Whenever this hero comes into a game, it's kind of that X-Factor pick that can just sneak through 4th, 5th pick. And if you don't have a good answer for it, you're in trouble. It forces Vega to pick this 5th pick slider, which to me was never going to be their intent going into the last pick. They wanted something along the lines of a Clinks, something more FN-centric, but hey, they had to adapt, and EG, to me, that's a great sign for them in game number 1.
Well, game number 1, speaking of, just about ready to get started. We're moving into the map now as the teams get moving as well. All right, so on the side of EG, first thing that jumps out is we're going to see Sumail back on the Death Prophet, has had success on this hero throughout the tournament thus far. Lifestealer, a hero that many considered to be just kind of this wonky little, like, yeah, he's got a gimmick, he can infest the Ancient, you know, build a Radiance, really trolling in pubs, but we've seen EG actually go with the Lifestealer pick a number of times now.
Yeah, it's been AUI's probably most successful hero this tournament, something they've fallen back on in a lot of their crucial matches, and I like it because it fights better than some of the hard carries we've seen him on. He's played Sven as well as Anti-Mage in some of their other games, and those carries just haven't worked out as well as the Lifestealer.
About 30 seconds to go now, and it looks like no one's really going to be making a big run at anything until the runes spawn. As we got these 30 seconds, Gods, give me a breakdown on what do you think is going to be key points for both teams looking ahead to the laning phase.
For EG, it's going to be about not letting Mag get too much out of the offlane on the Void. We've seen multiple Voids played yesterday by Team Empire, and they would just completely wreck the lane. So I think EG are going to need to make sure they do a good job zoning him out, not giving him too much farm. For Vega, it's all about the early game Enchantress rotations from solo, finding those pickups. Sumail, very vulnerable to Enchantress ganks in the mid lane on Death Prophet.
Runes are going to spawn, and there's not going to be a whole lot said or done about it. No one, of course, will take the top rune. Sumail happy to take the bottom, and now as the heroes make their way to lane, let's take a look and see who's handling who. It's going to be PPD setting up shop here in the bottom lane on the support Lion. Sumail, as mentioned, getting that minute 0 rune, going to be going mid on the Death Prophet. Broodmother going to be played by Bulba, and you know, this is always fun for me to see, going back to a long time ago. Bulba, you know, played this hero all the way back during the first games I ever casted of Dota, so seeing him back on that, a breath of nostalgia for me. AUI, speaking of nostalgia, on the Lifestealer, and going up against Mag, as we can see there. And of course, the Doom going to be played by Fear. He's starting out in the jungle, at least for the moment, has skilled first point into Devour.
Yeah, he made an interesting move to try and find Solo, but Solo stuck by him through the mid lane, so they're kind of playing cat and mouse, where Fear's trying to basically deny him creeps to use early on.
Yeah, speaking of Solo, take a look at him. He's on the Enchantress. He's going to be moving down a bottom lane, at least for the moment. He has the Wild Wing Ripper along with him. Will be Seoma the Slayer, now going to work here in top lane, trying to do his best to interfere with Bulba on the Witch Doctor. Mid, the matchup's going to be no one against Sumail, so Puck versus the Death Prophet. It's going to be FN farming up the Slarder, not going to be contested a ton, at least not for the moment, in the safe lane. And then, of course, the off lane in Mag, which you pointed out, this is a key hero to watch early in the laning phase to see how Vega's going to shape up looking ahead to the mid game.
Yeah, and he's already getting 3 CS out of the lane, make it 4, and getting plenty of XP, so they're not really able to bully him much. PPD's answer is to use pulls. He's trying to just deny experience and farm from the Void, while helping AUI. Like, Lifestealer, a very good hero to actually last hit and farm under the tower, so you're not too worried about having him tanking creeps there. He's also got good HP regen, but with Solo showing up on the Enchantress, this lane gets a lot harder for him.
Now, Solo's backing off, at least for the moment. We see Fear had rotated down as well. He's going to continue to move around, and we'll see. Yeah, he's just going to eyeball the 2-minute rune. We'll see what it's going to be, as everything seems pretty quiet for the most part. Bounty rune picked up. There's an illusion rune. Untaken at top, at least for the moment. We could see, speaking of top lane, there is a sentry already down for Vega. It's going to give them decent vision, but Bulba playing very safe here on the Broodmother. And off to a decent start, I would say. I mean, 4 CS, not the best, but certainly hanging around, getting plenty of experience.
Yeah, and as a Brood, you're just happy getting that XP so that you can get your level 2, level 3 spawns Vitalings and then try and fight and kill off the supports with that. Be pesky towards the Slarder. So, decent start for Bulba, just not able to get zoned out by Vega. And so far, I feel like most impressive has been Fear on the Doom. He's managed to completely track the Enchantress wherever she goes. He just recently devoured one of her creeps, so very much negating the early game presence of Solo on Enchantress.
Yep, using that burn damage from Infernal Blade to his advantage. He's pretty low now, caught in the river, but Mag with nothing to allow him to slow him down. If he had gotten a time walk there, or time lock, excuse me, maybe would have pursued it out and tried to get a stomp from the Centaur, but as it stands, Fear will make it back to safety.
So, level 3 now, that's kind of your key level as a Doom, so you've got 1 point in each skill. Got a lot of ganking potential with Scorched Earth as well as the Infernal Blade, so see what his move is going to be. Problem is, Puck is not really a gankable mid with the Death Prophet plus Doom, so if you want to kill off someone like a Puck, you need to bring someone like PPD, and bringing PPD off the bottom lane, it frees up the Void. So for now, I imagine EG just happy to play a kind of passive, static laning stage because they've got 3 lanes all getting some farm, and they've got the Doom who's in the jungle.
Sumail and no one trading a lot of damage here in mid lane. Sumail wandered up and tried to trade, but really that didn't go his way. Both are a little bit low, but it's relatively a wash here. We can see it's 18 CS against the 14 of Puck. It was tied just a moment ago, though. So no one, still within striking distance, even if a slight lead for Sumail at the moment. At top, though, the big winner is going to be the Slarder in this laning phase. I'll tell you, FN would be happy to see exactly what you were talking about there, God, just keeping it static. Doesn't look like we're going to have a chance for that, though, as PPD and Fear now moving under cover of smoke. Going to try to make something happen at the Rune. There's Solo at the high ground. Enchant on the PPD. Fear looking for a target and choosing not to spend any mana. Instead, just going to secure the Rune. Let Sumail bottle it up, and looks like they're going to rotate top now. Let's see what they can make happen.
Really good idea from EG there. They wanted to find the Puck going for the 4-minute rune up top with the Lion Doom. Kind of as mentioned, if you want to kill the Puck mid, Doom can't do it alone. You've got to bring Lion with the Impale, but unfortunately for them, Enchantress Solo in the right spot at the right time to scout it out and keep Puck alive. This is kind of like the follow-up plan B, which is let's head top. Brood has a decent number of Spiderlings starting to accrue, level 4, so they can catch FN here. This really will give Bulba a big early game boost.
Yeah, I mean, right now, again, he's the highest in CS, and looks like they're going to back off. Yeah, Peter going to go ahead and leave lane once again. So it looks like we're going to remain pretty quiet. Let's talk a little bit about this Slarder here, Gods. What do you think the build's going to be? Is it going to be a mid-game item? Never mind. It's been answered. You picked up the Helm of Iron Will.
Yep, straight into the Armlet. This is the I think we're just going to keep seeing this for now on safe lane Sliders. Armlet into Blink. Bulba
Ooh.
just out of range of the Crush. And that was a dust committed as well, so.
Sumail giving a little harassment to no one here in mid. Does continue to win the lane, and in fact, the gap has opened up even more than it was. It looked like it was going to remain pretty close, barring, a couple of trades here and there. Instead, it's now 19 CS for the Puck to the 29 of Sumail. So this is a lane going very well for him. Peter now beginning to show some attention there. He's just a little bit over level 3.
Yeah, but looking at the carries is where there's a big discrepancy. AUI just 24 CS, 41 on Slider. Some of that would surely be Spiderlings, but even so, Lifestealer far from free farming in this bottom lane.
The Void, as a matter of fact, doing quite well, sitting at 20 CS. In fact, he's tied with the Puck. So this has been a big win for Vega in the off lane and in the safe lane so far as the cores go.
Well, let's see what the next move is going to be from PPD. He's got another smoke ready to go, but just securing the 6-minute rune, making sure Puck doesn't find anything that he can gank with. With a level 6 Puck holding a TP scroll, there is a lot of rotation potential coming out of no one. The options are kind of like you either TP Puck somewhere to go for a gank, or you bring a hero like Enchantress to the mid lane with the coil.
FN continuing to pile up Spiderling kills at top. And Bulba really struggling a bit to find farm. 17 CS is not horrendous, but he's going to need a little bit more than that to really start feeling effective. And in the meantime, Slarder just continues to slingshot ahead of the rest of the field. 55 CS in 6.5 minutes. That is a tremendous amount of farm. It would make Monsato jealous.
And you're looking at heroes that deal with the Brood pretty well come mid-game time. You've got Chronosphere as well as the Slider, who can initiate it, that has the amp damage to keep tabs of the Brood. So it's not going to be an easy game for Bulba. The fact that he hasn't really been able to pressure or bully this lane, possibly a slight concern for EG.
Looks like, never mind. Thought Peter might try to make a run at no one. Instead, he was hanging there in mid, and Puck wisely pulling back far enough to keep himself safe in the event of any kind of gank attempt. Solo just continuing to work himself around the jungle a bit now. How do you feel about Solo's involvement? I mean, we saw him bounce around a little bit early, as you said, tracked very effectively by Fear. Since then, he's kind of just been farming.
Yeah, I think he just got fed up with Fear always being there and preventing his ganks from happening. So he's like, well, Fear's farming better than I am. He's devouring my creeps. He's getting golden XP. I need to make sure I'm not... If your ganks aren't effective as an Enchantress, you need to make sure you're farming. You can't have ineffective ganks and then be under-leveled and under-farmed. So Solo's kind of transitioning into that pseudo-farming jungle Enchantress now to kind of match what Fear's doing on the Doom.
Now we see Slarder's now finished his armlet. And is this a situation where if you're Vega, as long as EG's willing to just let the status quo continue so far as the laning phase, do you just keep farming, or do you now want to try to put in some use given this item is out at a very early timing?
It doesn't give you initiation is the main problem with the armlet pickup. So until you've got Blink, you're not guaranteed ganks out of rotations here coming from Sada. Puck is like the one hero who can be sure in setting up kills with a Dream Core perhaps. So if you want to go, secure kills, you're looking at either Puck getting involved or even the Void Chronosphere. Void's actually very farmed, level 7 already, so Mag with max time lock has a decent amount of kill potential here early on. He may actually be waiting for it so the Witch Doctor can hit level 6, and then I think we see probably the first big play coming up from Vega. The Witch Doctor Death Ward with the Chronosphere can kill pretty much any hero on the map right now.
And this is a situation where FN and amplified damage is going to become a big problem for Bulba, as he's level 7 now. Speaking of important level 6s and ultimates, Doom just shy of level 6, so kill potential on Fear limited, at least for the moment, but can't imagine that's going to last long. Yeah, they've even put him in lane. They really want to prioritize getting him his level 6 as quickly as possible.
Yeah, I like that move, and AUI happy to just juggle it up a bit. Not farming quite as well as his Slaughter, but...
Speaking of kill potential, Mag tucked away in the trees.
Yep.
Sumail smelling a rat. Takes an odd path back and trying to make sure he's going to stay safe.
I mean, from EG's perspective, that Void just spent the first 8 minutes of the game farming away at bottom lane. The second he goes missing, it should be very obvious that he's either TP'd top or made a rotation towards mid. And...
As you can see, accounting for both. PPD rotating top just in case there's going to be any kind of a dive attempt on Bulba. And everyone's just going to go back to lane. So a game like this, it's been so quiet, just shy of 10 minutes. Let's just look at who's winning efficiency-wise, and it is EG. They've earned just about 1,000 gold extra over these first 10 minutes compared to Vega Squadron. Experience is actually in Vega's court a little bit, but for the most part, a very negligible advantage.
Yeah, Sumail with almost 1,000 net worth advantage over the mid lane. AUI rotating top with an invest, doesn't quite... Oh! Missed armlet toggle with the spider legs. Bulba gets first blood at top with it.
And Bulba securing the first blood. And great way to finally get the latter half of this early game going. This is going to be a tier 1 attempt coming out of EG.
I think that was like the 6.87B patch coming into play. The armlet doesn't give you the armor right away while you're armlet toggling, and his armlet toggling gets hit by a spiderling and just instantly dies. So bit of a mistake there from FN, it looked like. He didn't need to armlet toggle with the spiderlings on him. He still had a decent chunk of HP.
This tier 1 doesn't look to be contested. Worth mentioning that Sumail did hang on to his ultimate. So if they want to continue to force the issue, they're going to have that to do so with. And down at bottom, we see Mags actually being cute and cutting creeps and the such. AUI doesn't really want to engage into him right now. In the meantime, mid tier 1 taking some damage, but not enough to keep up with the pace of EG. What's EG's move now, Gods? What do you think they're going to do? Collapse and try to fight?
Probably swing back to their own jungle. Either make a beeline towards the mid lane, take a fight there, try to secure the tier 1 tower using Exorcism, or just go back to what's got them this lead early on, farming efficiency. They're not under any big pressure to make a big move happen. So I think for EG, they don't want to over 5-ban here. Otherwise, that's where Vega could kind of dodge fights, out-farm them, take towers elsewhere on the map.
I'll tell you, Mags just being given more room. Solo and Fear going to trade blows a bit. Here comes no one. We could end up with a fight. There's going to be the coil spin. I think they're just going to let him die. Bulba was in range to try to counter-engage, but decided to just let it go 1-1.
Yeah, so with Doom Fear picked off, very much the plan is now going to be just get your level 6 on Lion, pick up the Brute's Orchid. Don't try and fight until you've got like another item or two coming out on the side of EG. They haven't actually finished off any of their real core early game items. AUI hasn't got his armlet, Death Prophet no Yule, so fighting right now doesn't really make sense for EG when they're very close to these items, but not quite there.
But do you think Vega is going to recognize that and start going out of their way to force issues, or are they happy to just farm at least until they get a blink on the Slaughter, which is a very key item? I was going to say one of two key items. There's a blink on Puck, and the blink on Slaughter should be coming out soon.
Yeah, I think the blink on Puck's going to be enough for them to at least take some fights. They've got plenty of team fight with the Void Chronosphere as well. So for Vega, they don't want to let EG continue to play at their tempo. Already it's EG with that 1,500 net worth advantage, and this is just a team who you typically cannot you can't out-farm them. You can't out-greed EG in most scenarios unless you've kind of drafted around the fact that you want to do that. And Vega, this slow tempo, they're going to find Sumail at mid lane though.
Yep, Fear's there. There's the Doom. Gets it off onto FN. There's going to be a death ward from the low ground. Sumail's going to try to fight through it. And yep, that's going to be enough to secure a kill. Solo gets way out there. There's the Hex from PPD, and he's brought down as well. So EG on point with the rotation. Little surprising to see Solo come out the way he did, and he ends up paying the price for it. Void nowhere near, was looking to rotate up, and looks like he may have thought better of it. Did have the sphere to call upon. Very gutsy, but very on-point maneuver from Sumail as well to realize, I mean, you can see where his health is now. It was actually a bit lower than that. And he just stood and took it and said, yeah, it doesn't matter. The troops are on the way, and I'm just going to tank this.
Such a good position from Fear. He gets the doom off before Slider could even crush Sumail. That would have done a lot of damage onto him. So really nicely played by Fear, being in the right spot. And EG, it's one of those things where you're playing against EG, you know you're being out-farmed, and you hit your Blink Dagger time, and you're like, okay, we've got to go now. Otherwise, they're going to keep out-farming us. But EG, they're always ready to counterplay. They're the best team at kind of reacting and counter-ganking in those scenarios. Every time you think you've maybe hit your item timing to go on EG, they're ready for it. PPD's there with the Impale, you've got Doom there on Fear, ready to take out the Slider, and just perfectly played from EG.
Now Vega beginning to feel a little pressure for now for sure. And honestly, over the with this new patch and then the way things are patched a little bit in the middle of the tournament, it has seemed like it's a slower build-up for teams to get these big net worth leads. But at 14 minutes with just 3 kills on the board, EG has built up 3K, and that's with AUI honestly having a subpar game. He's not very well farmed, given how little he was contested down in the safe lane. So PPD in a bit of a precarious situation now, surrounded by enemies. If he gets spotted, yep, they got him. So Peter, better spend your money, homie.
Well, you can't. He wants to blink.
Yep.
So, unfortunately for him, he'll be set back a bit there, a couple hundred gold.
Still, could have bought a TP or two. So, yeah, I mean, it's a decent pick, but, Vega, they're going to need to get some momentum here. What's the call? What's the best play other than just trying to force EG into a bad tower defense?
They've got another Blink Dagger. I think it's trying to find pickoffs further away from towers. The reason EG is so successful at that counter punch in mid lane is because it's right by a tier 1 tower. So Fear's already there, PPD TP's in, and they just use the fact that they have that tower position there to protect Sumail. So for Vega, it's all about trying to find those picks further away from towers, or making sure you have a +1. Like that was a three-man gank on Sumail at mid lane. Brig 4, Brig 5. At this stage of the game, you've got to kill some of these EG cores.
Speaking of EG cores, Bulba has picked up an Orchid to go with his Soul Ring. And what do you think is going to be the primary use of the Brood? I mean, Brood does what Brood does, but is this going to be a Brood that wants to come to fights more often than not, or a Brood that wants a split push?
There'll be some combination of the two. Bulba, you can't defend against his split push with one hero when he's got an Orchid. The solo kill potential means that Puck can't spam out against the Spiderlings. Slider has to be worried about it as well. Void, similar thing. None of these heroes have ways to really get out of that Orchid silence, so Bulba with the solo kill potential makes it very hard to deal with wherever he goes, but at the same time, Orchid in a team fight, very beneficial when you're against someone like no one on the Puck.
Right.
The Void, similar if you can stop him getting a Chronosphere off, so I think EG will be looking to initially... The nice thing now is that you stock up these webs, so if you're split pushing a lane, you can come to...
Very fast reaction on AUI. He was surrounded by enemies, and there's going to be a coil as well, just as his rage ends. Now no one wants to go in. They got Sumail. Did not get Fear. 3-man coil, though. Bad news for EG. Mag trying to chop down AUI. Does so. Well-timed crush. That's 2 down. Fear's going to get off the Doom and do what damage he can. But ultimately, it's going to be a 3-0 as EG out of position. And really that began AUI coming down to check the top rune. His reaction was actually ridiculously good. He was blinked on and raged before the crush could finish, but then they just pursued him to the high ground, and EG found themselves caught up in that little choke point of a ridge line above the river, and good job capitalizing on it from Vega.
Yeah, for Vega it was all about bringing that extra hero. In mid lane they only had 3. This time around they had 4 heroes. Ends up being like 5 Vega heroes committing to that fight. Having the Void there, we see the first Chronosphere of the game. 3 heroes, absolutely perfect initiation from Mag to follow up the slightly, well, not even a misplay from FN, just getting out-reacted by AUI on the rage, but...
Whoa! FN ends up dropping as Bulba's in position. Enchantress gets the Aegis. They want to re-engage. Shioma not going to make it out alive. Now no one's caught, but Mag's able to make it out. And, yep, no one does manage to survive as well.
He's level 13. I was about to say, it looked like if he doesn't have level 13 with max phase shift, he actually dies there because he doesn't reset the blink cooldown.
Yep.
But having maxed out phase shift, that's very impressive. He's 2 levels higher than anyone else in the game right now on Puck.
Well, we see Life Stealer Grabbing his first Ancient Creep. He's jumped into the Thunderhide. Really good name. That's actually one of my favorite names for creeps in the game. And we're going to start to see some of his shenanigans. So talk to me about AUI and this lifestealer. I mean, he's doing what he's doing now, but is this going to be the overall plan? Or, you know, what do you think the approach is for EG in all phases of the game?
You can always farm, well, I say you can farm safely in Ancient. They're trying to hunt down his Ancient now.
Yep, AUI going to rage. And, yep, there's PPD. Came in. He's going to end up paying for it as well. Coil was spent. So they end up keeping AUI alive, but it did cost them their captain.
As cool as Thunderhide sound, it's also the weakest and squishiest Ancient Creep. So that shows itself there as AUI's Ancient just melts to the amp damage and the right clicks of the Armlet Slider and the Faceless Void.
Tier 1 mid, gonna be the prize they claim for that kill as well.
This Void's going to become a big problem. He's itemizing into a Yasha, so we're going to see that kind of fighting off-lane Void that Afterlife from Team Empire did a lot. Manta-style, Diffusal, if you want to go Butterfly, you can. And in a lot of ways, he's more the carry of this game than the Slider is, so...
Right.
They don't have... Like, their carries do not match up well against the Void. Lifestealer, you can just get locked down in the Chronosphere, and just fighting the Manta illusions with Diffusal outside of Rage is a big problem for him, so...
I'll tell you, something we haven't seen a lot of, even to this point, is Solo. We haven't seen him be truly impactful in many of these fights, so if he can get it together, and then just as you were saying, if he starts doing his damage as he hits level 11 here shortly, combine that with the initiation they have out of the Puck and the Slaughter, but the Void itemizing for damage and for a 1 position, I actually really like Vega's chances so far, so long as they're able to keep this momentum up and get their items.
Well, PPD now with the Blink Dagger, so EG have initiation. That's something their lineup just did not have up until this point, and they're going to have to rely on their squishiest hero, the support, to do so, but they found a big pick.
And yep, Doom used to secure the kill, and Vega need to get out of dodge, and AUI's got eyes on him though. He's in the Granite Golem. They're all going to TP away. Nothing he can do to stop it. So EG, like you said, getting the big pick. Don't know they're going to be able to turn it into an objective though.
Yeah, unlikely. The nice thing about AUI and the lifesteal with these Ancient Creeps, something I was talking about earlier, is just that he can typically farm very safely and not worry about being ganked. When you're in those Ancient Creeps, it gives you this buffer HP, where you've got this 2,000 HP Granite Golem, and they've got to kill that first before they can go on you. So we'll probably see him continue to infest in Ancient Creeps where possible.
Well, there's an Ancient Black Dragon that just spawned on their side of the map as well. Yep, that's the primo choice. And AUI spots it. He's going to kill off all the little winged friends and then jump on in, I'm sure. Yep, there you go. Oh, it's 5-6. We're just shy of 21 minutes in. It's been a back-and-forth slugfest, about 60 seconds, I would say, lasting on that Aegis, and it looks like Vega want to get something out of it while they can. They're beginning to barrel down this bottom lane, Tier 1 bottom. The target, less than 300 HP on it, so I don't even know that EG would want to try to contest this. Yeah, they're just going to let it go.
Yeah, and the Aegis on solo, they've kind of got rushed to picking it up because of EG contesting it. This is not like a hero that wants to frontline particularly, so they're not in they're in a great position to fight, man. They've got these double blinks on Puck and Slider, and they've got Chronosphere, but the problem is the Aegis isn't on the Slider. If Slider has Aegis, Vega are in a hugely advantageous position.
Fear may run into solo, and there's no will, or may, he absolutely will. Fear not wanting any part of it, doesn't know where the rest of Vega happens to be. He's going to TP away on the high ground. He'll make it back home safe.
Yep. The rest of Vega, though, will go hunting.
4-man smoke. Obvious target's Bulba. One of the harder ones to pick off, though. He's already beginning to move and back away a little bit. And, yep, looks like they're going to have a hard time finding him. Yeah, he's going to go ahead and move into the woods.
Even when your smoke pops, if he's over the tree, sometimes it can be very hard to find that brood. Well, actually going to go on the Ancient Creep at top.
Yeah, AUI comes out, and he's going to go to work. Now the brood's going to show up just in time to secure the kill on Mag. There's going to be a coil. AUI snaps it. Bulba's still doing work, and no one should be able to track down the kill on AUI. Buying some time with the armlet toggle, not nearly enough. The rest of EG has arrived, and they're going to be able to clean up 3 for 1 at the very bare minimum, 3 for 2. Let's see if they can find Solo. Solo did have the Aegis expire. No one.
The silence from Shumeo.
Oh, is it enough? Yes, there's the Doom. They're going to track down at least a Puck. Let's see if they can find Solo in time, if they even care. Fear's going to poke his nose through the woods, but not in time to catch him. Nonetheless, that's a 4 for 2.
That was so good from EG Bulba, waiting in the trees until the granite golem blows up, and then he instantly goes in with the silence on Void, preventing any kind of a Chronosphere, because Chronosphere is the lockdown to keep that lifesteal in place when he rages and tries to fight his way out of it. But with the Orchid, Void was done for. He desperately needs to farm up Manta style ASAP on the Faceless Void for Mag.
We're beginning to see a bit of a gap open up, not just in the overall net worth, but in particular in the cores. The overall net worth is actually very close. But more importantly, Sumail's beginning to get pretty large. He's about 1,000 gold, making 1,500 on top of the puck. And he's much more than that, about 32, 3,300, give or take, above the Void and the Slarder both. So, you know, these two heroes, the Void, especially if he's played as a 1, he's not the biggest flash farmer. So he's a hero that does not normally want to be trying to play from behind. He doesn't catch up very well. What do you think the move is now for Vega?
Yeah, Vega's in this awkward position where there's like this Void that kind of wants to be the carry. There's Puck, though, who's the most farmed hero, which is, it's great that no one's doing as well as he is, but you really want to have more farm on the Faceless Void,
right,
on the Slarder even as well, to get work towards his BKB, because Slarder's BKB and Faceless Void's Manta Styles are the two key items in my mind for Vega right now. Puck has all the levels in farm to kind of get everything he needs done in a team fight, but it's the other cores that are suffering as Vega look to see what their next move is going to be. But it really feels like this is a stage of the game where they almost have to react to EG. EG just so much stronger in these team fights when they get off these good Orchids. They've got the Doom as well, and Vega just don't have the answers unless they get a perfect initiation off from no one with a Blink Silence.
Fortunate RNG, AUI found himself another Black Dragon. He's going to use that to farm, at least for the moment. Bulba going for his own BKB. PPD, broke as always, but that's how he rolls. And yeah, I think EG at this point has earned enough time to get, like, you know, if you're EG, David, do you look at this and go, you know what, we have heroes that benefit a load from farm, you know, of all sorts. We've got pretty good flash farming capability. On the whole, we've got a Brood that jungles extremely fast. Are they happy to just farm for a bit and know that the Void and the Slarder are not going to be able to keep up with them in gold efficiency?
Yeah, they're happy as long as they're getting more out of the map, because late game, they do lose out to a Faceless Void Chronosphere. Like the team fight in the late game, you've got Lifestealer, Doom, Brood, these melee carries that will fall off a little bit and that just don't match up in general well against Slarder Void. Like you think Slarder Void, these are both great cores to have against melee carries. So for EG, you want to farm up your next item or two, the BKB on Brood being a big one. And after that, you need to make your next move fairly soon. They're approaching some key levels as well. Level 15 on Death Prophet, so we're about to reach that level 3 Exorcism as well. I imagine EG are going to be very intent on securing like a Roshan, using smokes in the near future.
AUI continuing to be obnoxious here in mid. Just keeping the lane shoved out, keeping his team safe. And they bought a smoke. We'll see when they want to use it. The courier's coming out for now. Bulba, of course, beginning to push up aggressively. Looks like he wants to finish his tier 1 bottom. Well, yeah, I was going to say, will they glyph it? They will. But it's going to be just basically a holding maneuver as no one there to contest it. And EG continuing to take control. Now's the smoke.
Right as Roche is about to respawn as well.
Yep.
PPD, send an illusion in. Won't do so.
Fears, Sumail, PPD.
Oh, Scan actually, for a second, saw one hero in the Dire Jungle. I believe that was a EG scan. Yeah, that was an EG scan.
PPD gonna check the high ground. Mag, the nearest target. Couple over here as well. FN. Now they're gonna have vision with the ward. And in the meantime, Fear and Sumail just wanting to hang around. Looks like they want to use AUI as bait again.
It's worked out well for them so far, but after last time, like it's kind of like one of those things where it worked the first time and then EG reacted, and the second time they used him as bait. So third time now, I don't imagine Vega's going to go in the Ancient Creep and not expect to have EG behind ready to counterplay it. And the first time it only really worked because it was that squishy Ancient Thunderhide.
Now we can see Vega is but they got to do something though. They're losing their bottom tier 2. Bulba, just while everyone is a little pulled back and scared to come out, fearing EG's presence.
They've farmed up, they've got Manta Style now on Void, so that, whoa.
Yules.
Where's
that
the
catches
Manta?
Mag. There's a silence. Up, they're going to go in. And there's the Doom. The Linkage was popped. No one in very big trouble. Death Ward's going to go off. The Omen Slayer getting good damage done. Fear's actually going to end up dying. Now Sumail's going to Ghost Scepter. 2 for 1 so far. There's a 2-man coil. Is the follow-up there? No, it's not. Solo. Caught from behind by PPD. Bulba doing a lot of damage. but not enough to finish him off.
Ooh, that Manta arrives at the perfect time to get out of the silence and then make Fear, at least initially, have his Doom cancelled, but then he could have maybe turned in Chrono, but he tries to just run, and as a result, he reveals to Fear which is the real Faceless Void, so they kill him off with the Doom, making an EG-favored fight, but Vega, just the one kill on Doom, not going to be thrilled with how that one went down, but now there is a window where Exorcism's down, and I feel like that's where Vega have to try and fight, have to use smokes, go for Roche, and get something done. There's 100 seconds before Sumail's next Exorcism. Get out on the map and get something done.
EG looking like they want to stick together for now. And should be a mechanism coming out on Fear sometime in the near future. He's got the buckler already.
Looks like Vega going to go for Roche, knowing there's no Exorcism. So this is the right play and what they needed to do. EG can try and come into contest this. They don't have an Ancient Creep, they don't have an Exorcism, so I feel it's just not going to be a favorable fight for them if they do.
Can't imagine they're going to put this on solo again.
Yeah, they might try deny with Spiderlings. That's always something cute.
Yep, Bulba getting in there. That's really smart. Crushing right before it drops, just to make sure if there were Spiderlings. So protecting against it. I've actually never seen that in a pro game, like in a game I've casted anyway.
Immediate smoke up afterwards, and Exorcism still down for 40 seconds. So Vega, Roshan into smoke, into possible team fight. This is very quick play coming out from there. It's the first time we've really seen it this entire game, and it's also the first time that like a big Exorcism has been used, and Vega are ready to then take a fight and take some initiative to get something done. So really like what I'm seeing from them.
EG, they got some heroes in the vicinity, and yep, Fear, he's going to be spotted over in the weeds. Good pick for Vega. And PPD, ooh, almost got caught as well, but he's able to make it away just barely.
Yeah. Not the biggest pick off for Vega, so unfortunately a smoke like that, it's like, yeah, you got one kill, but can you immediately get like a tower to follow it up? Sumail has Exorcism, so EG at least somewhat ready to fight again, but having a Slider with Aegis, which was the big problem last time Vega took Roshan, Slider died right before to the initiation from EG, and the Aegis end up on solo, but the Slider Aegis that much more potent than something Vega can use to take fights into Exorcism.
Tier 2 bottom, now the target. EG, looks like they want no part in keeping it standing. PPD did pick up a Tome of Knowledge and get himself to a level 11, so he has level 2 finger on the call. And looks like both teams likely to reset a little bit. EG might just want to wait out the remainder of this Aegis. So while we wait to see what's going to take shape on the map, we're solidly in the mid-game now, David. It's 30 minutes in. We're beginning to see the item choices really show themselves, and, you know, the heroes are committing down paths. We now have the Aghanim Scepter picked up on solo to go with his Dragon Lance. Looks like it's going to be a straight-up Scepter build on Seoma, not even going to upgrade to Tier 2 boots of any sort, just going brown boots bottle, and I don't know if that's, yeah, it's not even his bottle. Oh, hang on. I thought they might initiate. But anyway, as we're now in the mid-game, talk to me about key items you expect to see and that you think both teams are going to need, and talk to me about chains of initiation. How do both teams want to go about taking and starting fights?
For Vega, it's going to come down to fighting around that Exorcism cooldown, trying to force Sumail to perhaps pop it prematurely, or whenever he does use it, you either have to burst him down or disengage. There's no like in-between option. If Sumail's fighting heroes with Exorcism up, you're going to lose the fight. So for EG, it's kind of the opposite, where you need to keep Sumail alive, get the most out of your Exorcism, and anytime it's on cooldown, you have to be very cautious about Vega trying to catch you out, using their blink initiations, and using just this Slider who has an Aegis who can just run in, not really too worried about going down. So for Vega, looking at like as things progress, they've got the Faceless Void, who's a great matchup against the Lifesteal, the Brood. These two core heroes need to just itemize around the fact that they are going to be dealt with pretty handily in the fights in terms of control. Brood's going for the Vlads. It looks like Lifesteal going for an AC and going for Aura.
They're going to go. Solo Mag hits a two-man sphere, going to work on Sumail. There's a good death ward. Sumail's going to end up dropping. Does manage to Ghost Scepter himself and buy some time. AUI being kited effectively, but now the Doom on the Solo. Going to try to chase him down. Sumail still up and fighting by some miracle. Gets off the Exorcism. FN trying to bring him down. Do they have the damage? He's still kiting and still using the drain.
Well, that's exactly what I was talking about. You have to burst the Death Prophet or not fight the Death Prophet. They tried to burst, they couldn't do it. Sumail somehow dies at the end of the puck, but Sumail got down to like 200 HP. Well, he gets the Spirit Siphon off. They're not going to catch the puck, it looks like. Or will they? DPD's there.
Yeah, let's see. He silences, buys himself some time. Phase shift, they're going to try to predict him. And goes up to the high ground, but Fear's already there. Effin, in the meantime, managed to find himself a kill on his own. He's trying to flank around. Now he's going to be caught from behind. Bulba's there. Orchid's off cooldown in 12 seconds. AUI. They still can't track the puck down, and Effin still just hanging around, still trying to find him. No one will be able to make it away. And that actually works out pretty well for Vega as the greed of EG and chasing the kill. Now they're going to re-engage on the Bulba, and he's going to die to Effin as well. So EG, their eyes a little bigger than their stomach, end up paying the price as they give up 2 extraneous kills they just simply didn't need to give up.
That's puck in a nutshell right there. Even with Orchid, Doom, Silence, chasing, sometimes it's not working out for you. But to go back to that big team fight, it could have been a 5-0 in Vega's favor if they just burst the Death Prophet.
Yep.
Not doing so, it quickly turned into like a 4-for-1. It becomes much more even because EG just chased down a bit unnecessarily, give up a few kills. But up until that point, EG completely dominated the team fight just by Spirit siphoning up Sumail. He uses his items so well in that fight.
Yep.
The initial Ghost Step to keep it alive. Then he waits till he doesn't use the Yules until he's got the Spirit Siphon off. So he continues to lifesteal and regen HP while he's used up. So really great play from Sumail, and just a little bit too tanky. And you win a fight like that, if he gets like another survivability item, something like an Octarine Core, it gets that much harder to kill him next time around.
Well, the tricky thing is, even though they won that fight, because of the kills they gave up afterwards, it actually ends up being erased. It's just about down to 0 in terms of net worth advantage for either team, and 2,000 experience advantage for Vega. So, you know, just to touch on it again, though, Sumail, he Ghost Sceptered out with could not have been more than 150, 200 HP, and they just couldn't bring him down, and it made all the difference. Good patience, I think, from EG as well, selecting when and where to re-engage after being caught in the big sphere.
Vega have some very scary items coming up now. They just picked up the Ags on Puck, which is going to be a great answer to both Brood and Lifestealer, the Rage, as well as the BKB Brood, who can get stunned up for a long duration with this Aghanim Scepter upgrade. And the Slad are getting very close to completing a full Assault Cuirass. So next few team fights EG have to be very careful, and I think this Aghanim's on Puck is a pretty big game changer as far as how those fights are going to develop.
Scepter not all that far off for Seoma the Slayer either. He's just missing one item. He's his Blade of Alacrity. And we're already seeing the work that Death Ward's doing, especially against the Death Prophet in particular. His Death Ward is pretty much the only reason Sumail almost died there. So if they're going to be able to really get maximum value out of these Chronospheres, which so far have been on point from Mag, that's a very key item, I think, in terms of their damage output in the mid-game.
Yeah. I think a big thing that's going to start happening is just AUI and Bulba in these fights are not going to be able to dish out that much damage. Like you've got these two cores that hero damage-wise are very limited in team fights. It's all Sumail who's killing heroes. So for Vega, it's commit everything on Sumail, and you don't even have to worry too much about a Brood. That's why Brood's itemizing for Vlad's. The Lifesteal has AC. These are items which actually, they benefit the Lifesteal and Brood, but they also benefit Sumail on the Death Prophet. He gets a ton of armor as a result, and this is much needed against the physical damage burst of Vega's lineup.
Tier 2 drops, bottom lane, and let's see how far EG wants to push this. Roshan, we'll see his respawn coming soon. For the moment, looks like they're happy to farm. Still 500 gold, give or take, away for Seoma before he gets his Scepter up. And EG will go ahead and retreat to their side of the map. Assault Cuirass coming out on the side of Vega as well.
Yeah, both teams with the AC. So AUI's next item was the Blink Dagger, just allowing him to get that initiation. You want to perhaps just go with someone like the Witch Doctor. They don't have the best answer. If you can blink on the backliners, find a Witch Doctor, or even just pair it with Bulba, because Bulba finds it much easier to get to the backlines with the web. So making sure that AUI can get that extra bit of burst damage on a hero who may be orchided it up. And with a Diffusal Blade, Bulba now has a way to break the puck's Lincoln Sphere and then silence the puck as well in these fights. So makes it a bit harder for no one to play as ballsy as he has been in these initiations of his.
relatively low activity game, all things considered. A lot of the games we've casted here at WePlay so far have been in the nature of at least 1 kill a minute, if not multiple kills a minute. This one, just 27 kills in a 37-minute game, so much more of a tactical affair here in game 1 of our lower bracket final.
Probably somewhat what was to be expected. Vega, unlike Team Empire or Na'Vi, are much more calculated and farm-centric compared to the other CIS teams. And EG themselves, I mean, everyone's been talking about EG from day one. It's all about farming efficiency. They haven't been playing like the very complete opposite to what we see out of a team like MVP, who all about getting kills, diving towers, taking the fight to you. EG's all about letting the other team come to them and then using their farm advantage to win fights and turn engagements around.
EG has taken over the jungle and beginning to really bottle Vega up a bit. And we'll see if this is going to end up being a fight. There's a ward that goes onto the high ground. They immediately spot Solo. They're going to go for it. There's going to be the finger on the Solo, but the two-man crush. PPD brought down immediately, and AUI has no help on the way. Getting way too far ahead of themselves. Tanky as he is, he just can't live through that much onslaught. Really greedy maneuver out of EG, and we were just talking about how calculated they had been so far. Easy to understand why they would be. They throw the ward, and they see just a lone Enchantress and go, that's the pick. But the whole team was right behind him. Great spear placement again from Mag. And there's just no way for EG to counter initiate. They could not come uphill, and it's going to cost them their third Roshan of the game. This one giving cheese to Vega as well.
Yeah, that Chronosphere just covering up the entire ramp and the choke point. EG had no way to counterplay. Fear's just sitting right next to it, like I can't really blink in. There's no one to go on. Sumail's a little bit too far away as well, and they've got to fight around Sumail. They've got to make sure it's the Exorcism that's their primary source of damage. So EG jump the gun a bit, and Vega secure Aegis and Cheese. Cheese on Void, Aegis, on Slaughter. So this is where Vega have seen their most success. They don't have the best high ground sieging lineup, but I mean, they haven't even taken 2 of the tier 2 towers. We're 40 minutes in, and 2 outer towers still remain on the side of EG, but they have a great team fight lineup, and that's exactly what they're going to be looking to do now that they've got the Aegis and Cheese.
Well, if there's any one thing I guess EG could feel good about is they didn't expend the Exorcism there. So if they want to try to take a fight here, they didn't expend Doom or Exorcism. Up at top, they're going to track down Doom. Coil was spent, and Fear end up being caught near his own secret shop. So that should kind of answer that question. This is going to be at least 1 tier 2 down. The creeps are pushing way out in top lane. Question is, do they try to high ground here?
I think they should. They slowly chip away at it using the Slider on the front lines. One of the downsides of having the AC, it means Slider's not quite as tanky as he'd like to be. I think FN, engagement in, Lifestealer.
Oh, BKB is going to be expended. It's going to be a spear that got AUI. FN going to be able to blow PPD up yet again, but he's very low on health. AUI does infest and try to get himself back into safety. Sumail trying to come in and engage. Mag left behind by his team now. EG ready to try to turn this fight. Sioma using the Death Ward, but can't get much out of it. Silenced 2 times over. Ends up being a 1 for 2 there. And I think EG is going to be very, very happy with that. You know, and imagine how that could have looked if Fear had been up with the Doom ready to go. That's actually a kind of a big deal. The fact that they get the pick on the Doom, they're unable to convert. You know, is it a question of target priorities? Because that's 2 fights in a row. Last time it didn't matter because it was during the failed pick-off on the Enchantress over in the Dire Side Secret Shop. But FN, as quickly as he can blow PPD up, it seems like it just buys time for the rest of EG to get in position and look to counter-initiate.
Yeah, the Void went on just the Lifestealer with the Chronosphere, didn't get the best Chrono, and didn't even kill AUI 2000 inside the Chronosphere. And we're starting to see one of the downsides of this Vega lineup. The damage input into the Chronosphere is good, but it's not incredible. And the way EG have itemized is to protect against that damage upward. It's the Impetus as well as the Death Ward, and EG take out the Witch Doctor, and without like a big Death Ward in that fight, EG, they managed to kind of, their sustain is just too much for Vega in some of these fights. All the bonus armor from the Vlads, the AC, giving them that little bit of extra sustain that they need. And
we should see the damage output from Void going up soon. He does have his Manta, as we saw a while ago, finally beginning work on that Diffusal. Not super far away, has 1 Blade of Alacrity up and another 1,000 gold, but 42 minutes in, buyback status becomes a major thing that you have to account for. And, you know, that just, it delays a lot of big items. These teams want to play cautiously, so instead of getting the Diffusal out as soon as possible, he's going to make sure he has buyback at all times.
Vega want to fight again. They've got a double damage rune on Slaughter. They've still got 2 minutes on this Aegis, so They're feeling confident here. They've got great vision around their push as well to protect the flank.
The glyph was expended as well. EG, if they're going to stop this, they need to go now. They're not going to be able to.
It's the exorcism cooldown. Again, Vega have timed their pushes and a lot of their movements around the exorcism to great effect.
There's a Hex doing what damage they can from range. But the exorcism cooldown, as you so presciently pointed out, really just allowing Vega to walk in and take a Rax uncontested.
And Sumail went for a lot of these smaller items, had the Veil, the Ghost Scepter. I mean, the yours is like your standard item, but you don't often see the Veil, and the Veil especially in the Ghost Scepter. And as a result, the Octarine Core comes up a lot late. If he had Octarine, he would have had Exorcism to defend the high ground that second time around, but only now, after Rax has been lost, does Sumail pick up Octarine Core.
And that's essentially going to be the Diffusal Blade done for the Void now, too. And with the safety of the Rax and their ability to pull back, he is willing to spend his money. Bulba decides to itemize to a Blink Dagger as well, so that's going to make a lot of mobility items. There's a Blink on the Lifestealer. So in terms of mobility and the ability for EG to punish any kind of overextension or poor positioning for Vega, they've got that handled. What do you think they have their damage output handled for the late game now?
It's going to come down entirely to execution, because that's why these blinks on these melee carries is what allows them to fight in the late game. It's almost like a core item to have on a 6-slotted late game carry. If you're like I mean, you see it lately on the Jugs, the Phantom Lancers, but Lifestealer Brood, similar story. You're a melee carry, you get kited very easily. There's big team fight ultimates you need to fight around, like Chronosphere. Blink Dagger is just essential. Not to mention the follow-up. If someone like PPD initiates with a Blink Hex or a Blink Impale, you don't want to have to walk in to follow it up. You want to be instantly on top of that hero. So having a Blink to kind of pair up with PPD's Blink goes a long way. Every kind of subsequent Blink Dagger just becomes more and more valuable because of how well they work together.
Aegis has expired. Both teams threw out a couple of scans, unable to find it.
Oh, they smoked, I believe, under that ward.
Yep, they did.
I think at least one hero was spotted by that.
Yep,
that
at
ward.
least one. At least one. They're going to cross the river, head across the ridge line in front of the Radiant Ancients. Fear blinking out of the way. Now they're going to look to initiate. There's going to be a Doom on the solo. They're all kind of caught up in the tree. Sioma blown off the map by PPD's ultimate. It's 1-for-1 so far. Bulba using his BKB as his FN. AUI trying to pursue him down. PPD finds FN, and now the follow-up from AUI. AUI using the Basher to great effect. She's consumed. There's going to be a coil. Got two. PPD not going to survive it. Bulba's caught out amidst a lot of enemies as well, but the coil, or the sphere, not enough to allow them to finish these heroes off, but now they trapped them in. Sumail and Bulba trying to finish off Sola. Bulba jumping ahead. They will yes, they will get one, but it's going to cost Bulba his life as well.
And Exorcism is one off now. This fight something's going to turn heavily Vega's way.
Fear doing what damage he can. FN gets off the crush. Sumail so tanky. Is Fear going to be able to help him? Sumail trying to make it away. Not this time. And Fear makes it a full 5-man wipe as he falls to Mag, and Vega spring ahead, way ahead here in this late game. And game one of the lower bracket finals seems to be going their way now.
FN having a cheese there. He managed to stay alive on low HP for so long, and EG just didn't have the firepower there once like Doom gets taken out immediately. I like the choice to Doom the Enchantress with the Aghanim Scepter, Dragon Lance. Ench is one of the biggest damage dealers in these fights, but huge execution from Vega. The Chronosphere is perfect. The puck follow-up, the Slaughter just keeping himself alive throughout it all. If they kill the Slaughter there, it's a different story, but Vega just playing it incredibly well. They don't get a rack stuff. They get the raid tracks, which was like, or mid lane was pretty much already secured, so they don't actually get a second lane out of it, though.
I'm a little curious as to that as well. Why do you think that is? I mean, Sumail was down, Doom was down. Why did they back?
Their ulti's also down, like the Chronosphere being the big one, and they're also just respecting the fact that it could be more buybacks. Often you buy back one or two heroes, you let them engage, and then you buy back, like let's say the Death Prophet, and then you've just team wipe Vega right back. So they're just kind of respecting EG's high ground defense, the fact that they're able to use these buybacks to perhaps force a fight that Vega don't want to take.
Right.
But Vega come out heavily on top after that fight, and the next big key item is going to be, to me, FN's Heart of Taras. It makes him incredibly tanky on Slaughter, and it also just gives him that high ground sieging potential, which Vega had been somewhat lacking.
Now, Vega not lacking in gold now. They are now a full 3 times the biggest lead we saw all game for EG. EG led at one point, just a hair over 4,000 gold. Now Vega up to a 14,000 gold lead. The experience is even more. If you're EG, how do you turn this around? Is this, like, with this lineup you've drafted, like you said, you've built your mobility items, you're now itemizing for late game damage and utility, so on and so on. But up against Vega, who just got such a huge infusion of gold, and they're feeling so great about their own itemization, how do you deal with this if you're EG?
You need to be the one starting the fight with a pickoff. Like, they start the fight with a Doom and Enchantress, but it's not a pickoff.
Coil onto Fear. He's going to try to TP away. Mag. Doesn't matter. Through the Chrono just to make sure he caught him. Yules would have been sufficient, but either way, that's the pickoff, except going the other way, man.
That's still miscommunication from Vega committing the Chrono there. It's actually perhaps either just miscommunication or no one. He could have immediately used. It's one of those, like, kind of, like, you see it a lot where players where they wait till the TP's about to go, they don't immediately use, and he just kind of makes Mag second guess, like, oh, is he actually going to stop this TP? And
right.
If they still had Chrono, they could have likely pushed, but without Chrono, I think Vega want to at least step back a little bit here. Doom respawning very quickly, actually, still just level 14. But for EG, they need to start the fight with a kill. Like, a Doom on an Enchantress is good and all, but they need to make sure that Enchantress gets taken out for good. The PPD Lion with the Blink Initiation needs to basically burst someone down with Earthspike Finger, and then the Brood / Lifesteal a Blink follow-up as well, because we're not seeing EG get those quick, easy pickoffs on core heroes, be it the Slatter or the Faceless Void. I think Void might be the ideal kill for them. Right. If you can kill off Void using a Blink Hex Finger, that's how you win a team fight if you're EG.
PPD still short of his level 16, but tell you what's even more astounding is how underleveled Fear is. He's just now about to hit level 15. He is the next to lowest leveled hero on the map. And honestly, when you look at his inventory, man, he's kind of got a yard sale. Like, he doesn't have a whole lot of coherence in what he's built. He's got a buckler, he's got a zero charge drums, Perseverance, TP, Blink Dagger, and Trank. So he's really been struggling coming down the stretch. His net worth is actually only 400 above the Witch Doctor on the Doom, and he is way behind the next highest hero, which is the Enchantress. He's about 5k behind her, one full item.
Yeah, that is a big concern for EG's late game. He had a great start in the early game with his presence just following solo around, but since then, in a team fight, he dooms the Enchantress, they don't even get the kill, and then from there, EG in all sorts of trouble. So they're going to commit. Roche already down, but it looks like EG want to commit to this fight.
They smoked up, and it's going to be revealed. There's going to be the jump away from Mag. Mag in a decent position here. Shivas and Exorcism used.
They commit the Exorcism and don't catch anyone.
Yeah, that's a little curious because there was no indication they would catch anyone. Now they're going to go back in. Huge three-man Chrono. The damage is tremendous. 3 heroes wiped off the map as Vega just running the American squad out of their home turf. Solo bailed out by his buddies. Bulba trying to they're just going to call it. What a huge turn as Vega go up 1 game on Evil Geniuses here in our lower bracket finals at WePlay Season 3. That is as demoralizing a fight as I've seen in quite some time, and it just, like, I have no idea what even went wrong. I mean, we saw the Exorcism goes off way too early. It doesn't look like they really have a coherent plan of where they want to attack. Then